Hello. Today we're going to create a dynamic, interactive executive sales dashboard using Excel spreadsheets. The final spreadsheet will look like this, and as you can see we have some pivot table charts showing profit by product category, sales by product category. We've also included Excel slicers that will allow us to drill down and slice into the data. For instance, if we want to profit by product category and consumer, corporate, home office customers, or small business customers. We also have another pivot table chart, sales by product category, which will allow us to again drill down and look at customer segment, but also look at the location. Where are these customers located? For instance, sales by product category for corporate customers in Ontario. And that's what makes this interactive and dynamic. We also have a pivot table that shows our sales by quarter, and it allows us to project what those sales will look like if we increase those sales by any of these percentages. So 5% increase, 10%, 15%, 20%. So as you see, this is highly dynamic, interactive, and a very nice executive dashboard that can be made by you very easily using Excel. So how do we do it? Well, let me drag this over here for a minute. And this is our other Excel spreadsheet that contains the data, and it's rather large, and it contains our sales data. It shows us the order dates, the quantities purchased in our retail stores, what was purchased, the shipping mode, the discount, profit, the customer who bought the goods from us, where the customer purchased the goods, the product category, the subcategory, the name, margin, ship date. Very, very extensive database or Excel spreadsheet containing this data. And of course, what we want to do is we want to be able to analyze this on a daily basis. For instance, the vice president of sales will certainly want to come into the office every morning, sit down, and take a look at where we are with our sales. So how do we do this? Well, the first thing we do is we save our spreadsheets to the same folder, just for the sake of convenience is a good idea. And then over in the dashboard Excel sheet, we make two worksheets, a staging worksheet and the actual dashboard. The staging worksheet is where we're going to actually create the pivot charts and tables. From the staging worksheet, we will copy either the charts, the tables, or the charts and tables to the dashboard. And it's the dashboard that the Executive Vice President of Sales will actually take a look at. So let's do the first one, profit by product category. How did we do that? Well, let's go back to the staging area, and we can do this again. We can go down here, and let me go ahead, and we're going to put it right here. And let me expand this. And the first thing we need to do is we need to insert our pivot table and chart. And the dialog box says, well, where is this data? Well, the data is coming in from an external source. And the reason you want the data to come in from an external source is so that data can be updated. You don't want the data to be actually part of the dashboard. If it is that way, it has to be manually imported. If it's an external connection, then that external database, external worksheet can be updated, and then those updates will be displayed in our dashboard. For instance, let's say you have 10 salespeople working for you. Each salesperson could be requested to upload their own Excel spreadsheet at the end of each week on Fridays. You can then make connections to each of those 10 worksheets and track the performance of each of those 10 salespeople. So we need to connect to our Excel spreadsheet, and there it is. I already made the connection. Superstore sales, and I would, if I didn't see it there, I could browse to that, and of course, since I've put it in the same folder on my desktop, I could browse to that, find that, and select it. But I've already did that, so we would click open, and that connection would be made. And where we're going to put this, well, let's put this right here in this existing worksheet, in the staging worksheet in A56. So we're going to click OK. And there it is. Perfect. And let's go ahead and readjust this a bit. And we'll put running out of space. So there's the pivot table. This is where the pivot chart will appear. And of course, here are the field names. And what we were looking for in this particular object on the dashboard was profit by, let's take a look at that again, profit by product category. There we go. And here's the product categories, and there's the profit. Exactly as we had in our original dashboard. But we would like to add one more thing. We would like to add a slicer, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I just want to drag, I'm not going to take this information, this data, over to the dashboard. In designing the dashboard, I decided I'm simply going to show the chart, pictures worth 1,000 words. So I click on the chart, right click on my PC, and press copy. And then I go to my dashboard and I click paste. Let's do it down here. Paste. Now, as I said, I'd like to slice into the data or drill down into the data, and I can do that by adding a slicer, which is really a type of sophisticated filter. And to do that, we simply can go up here and choose Insert, Slicer, again, making our connection to our data stored in an external file called Superstore Sales. Okay, so we're going to select our data, close the field, go up, go into Insert, Slicer, make sure the connection is existing. When we click on the slicer, we'll see again a pop-up menu with all the field names. And in this case, we're going to drill down by not only product category, but we also want to drill down into customer segment. And there we go. And I'm going to drop and drag that, put that right next to there. So show me sales by product category for consumers, for corporate customers, home office customers, and for small businesses. And then to add this to the dashboard is quite simple. We just select both the chart and the slicer, right click, copy, go to the dashboard, right click, and paste, and this is what it looks like. Of course, you can go in and add your titles, show the display of information, the data above each of the slices of the pie, and that's perfect. The same can be done for sales by category. The exact same process, except in this case we have two slicers. The next thing we want to look at is how do we dynamically calculate increase in sales. Okay, so let's go back to our staging area. Let's find a blank area. Again, we're going to do insert. This time we decided we're just going to show the data, so we chose pivot table. Use an existing connection, Superstore Sales. Going to put it right there in A75. Okay. And again, we are looking for sales by quarter. So in other words, quarter, when did the sale occur, would be order date and the product sale amount. There we go. Now, it could come up by individual sales, or here it came up by month, but we want by quarter. To put it in by quarter, you go to the first row of the field, right-click, group, and you have all of these grouping options. I'd like months and quarters. And there it is. Beautiful, beautiful. Many businesses run on a quarterly basis, so it's important to show information on a quarterly basis. Again, we can select our pivot table, right-click and copy, go over to the dashboard area where we're building it. Now this is what it's going to look like, but how do we get there? So I'm just going to place this underneath it, paste, and there it is. Now, to create this interactive function where we select a percentage and the sales show up, what we do is we go up to the Developer tab. Now, if the Developer tab is not showing in your Excel spreadsheet, you need to add it. And that is very simple. Go to File, Options, Add-ins, Customize Ribbon, and typically Developer may be unchecked. You want to make sure Developer is checked, click OK, and Developer tab will show. When the Developer tab shows, click on it, go to the Toolkit, and here's some really nice interactive controls. One of which is the combo box form control. I'm going to click that. When I click that and I bring that down, you can see I have a crosshairs, and that allows me to draw my combo box. And I want to draw it right there. Okay? So there is the actual box, but there's no data in it. We need to define the box, the combo. We do that by right-clicking, Format Control, and the input range. Well, the input range is the percentages that I want populated when it drops down and the executive selects what range that she would like to look at. I already selected these four ranges, 5, 10, 15, and 20%. And I already have typed them in these cells. So the input range is right here. Okay. The cell link is the cell in which the index number of each of those percentages will show. Now, what does that mean? Well, the combo box will actually return the index number in the list of each percentages. So 5% is the first in the list, index 1. 10% is second in the list, index 2. Third is 15%, index number 3. And fourth is 20%, index 4. Okay. Now, let's click off of this and see if this works. Well, there are my numbers. 5%, yes. So 1 showed up here. 10, 2 showed. 15%, the third index showed. And 20%, the fourth index. But where are these associated values coming from? I didn't enter them. Well, actually, I did already do that in my dashboard, and this is how I got it. And what you use is a command called index. And index, we entered that command in AB4. And let me explain what this formula says. It says, go out to the range AC3 through A36, this is where my percentages are, and return the value associated with that index number. So in the case of 5%, it said go out, find the percentage associated with 1, which is index, and return that value, 5%. Now, typically, if I'm building a professional dashboard, I can go ahead and hide these, or I can actually go and protect those cells because I don't want the Vice President of Sales changing that. That is a design and development function. So I can actually hide it, or I can go and protect the cells, whichever you prefer. Let's hide them. Makes the dashboard look clean. So now, how do I go and get these numbers? Well, for instance, for a 5% increase, and let me put these numbers right beside here so I can show you where I got them. As in all equations in Excel, I begin with the equal. My original value, my original sales, and this says that this value goes out. We get the pivot table from sales. It returns that times, now I hid these cells over here. I should unhide those because I need to remember the cell where I put the index value. Unhide. And the index, remember, we're trying to return this percentage, which is an AB4. So let's go back. Equals the original sales times AB4 plus the value of the original sale equals. And there it is. So 5% increase in the original sales, 10% increase in the original sales, 20, 15. And there it is. Now again, for a professional dashboard, I like to go over here. I possibly would like to hide this or lock it down. So the Vice President doesn't change that. And there we have it. So those, in a few simple steps, is how you create your very first interactive dynamic sales dashboard. Have a good day.